Welcome to Up to the Minute. Congratulations. You finally made it to Friday. That's right. Another week under our belt. Some new changes on the horizon for the new semester in the fall. We'll talk more about that later in the show. But we've got a great half-hour show for you here on Up to the Minute. Thanks for joining us on Facebook, YouTube. Remember, you can catch our rebroadcast on HCCTV at noon and 5 p.m. every weekday. Okay. Great show lined up, but my co-host today is Carolina, and she's going to give you an idea of where we are all over social media. Good morning to you, Carolina.
Good morning, Todd. It's so good to see you again. So you can find us on Facebook page as Houston Community College District, and also on YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, and LinkedIn. And like you mentioned, we're back on the HCCTV cable channel at noon and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. So you can check your local listings to find the channel.
Okay, so before we get started, I know it's going to embarrass her, but we're going to give her a little bit of kudos because Carolina started with us, I believe, as an intern a couple of years ago. She's been a part-time worker here at HCCTV, and now she's moving to full-time over at her Stafford television station. Congratulations, Carolina. You want to say a few words about your new role?
Thank you so much, Todd. I don't have anything else but to thank you at HCCTV. I learned so much, and it got me to this new role. So I'm so excited to move to this new position.
Well, we're excited to have you, and it just goes to show you work hard. She was a student. She worked really hard. She does some great work, and it shows. So congratulations, Carolina. Okay, we'll check in with you later on in the show. We've got two special guests for you this morning. Of course, it's a Friday. Our Film Friday guest is Carrie Darling. He's the arts editor and film critic with Houston Chronicle. Good to see you again, Carrie. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing great. We are looking forward to hearing about maybe some new movies that are coming out, some things that are going on in theaters, and a lot more. So stick around, Carrie. We're going to check in with you in about 10 minutes. All right. Our first guest, you know him. He's been around HCCTV for quite some time. In fact, his show, Dialogue Houston, is about to celebrate its 30th season. We're talking about Larry Payne, the host of Dialogue Houston, the director of strategic partnerships with Houston Public Library, and the inaugural recipient of the University of St. Thomas Servant Leadership Award. Larry, good morning to you. It's good to see you.
Good morning, Todd, and to your wonderful audience, good morning also. Great to be with you today.
You've got a big award with the University of St. Thomas. The event's happening today. Maybe you can tell us a bit about that.
It is the first annual Lawrence J. Larry Payne Servant Leadership Award. They created the award and to recognize great servant leaders in our community. It's named after me, which I'm very humbled about and very grateful for. And then in the years come, it will be awarded to another great servant leader. There'll be a panel of people to decide who that individual will be. And it's just a great way to recognize the wonderful, wonderful servant leaders we have throughout this community.
Well, Larry, you certainly are a servant leader, and you're a fine example of that award. And you're a mentor to all of us here at HCCTV because you've been around here for quite some time. In fact, Dialogue Houston is coming up on your 30th season.
Yeah, I begin to feel old. No, it's been a labor of love. The show has grown and developed and changed over the years, as you know. But it has always been the premier HCC's TV, Community Affairs, Public Affairs show. And we've done some great work over the years with a myriad of guests covering every possible aspect of Houston's life, socially, economically, politically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. We've covered it all. And we've had some really great guests over the years, and I look forward to the next 30 years of the show.
If you could think of one guest that was your favorite and most intriguing guest, who would you say that would be?
Oh, without a doubt, Mayor Leafy Brown. When he first became mayor. His vision for Houston that he laid out on the show was remarkable, including, of course, the work with the police and police reform as a former police chief. His concept of community-oriented policing, community policing, was really the key and the backbone to what we now are going back to in this new reform. But he laid the foundation and the predicate for that. And he gets a lot of credit and should get a lot of credit and probably has not gotten all the recognition due to him for that work.
Well, you're exactly right. He was very big on community policing and policing reform. And last year, Mayor Sylvester Turner announced the task force on policing reform. You were tasked with leading that task force, and you're the chair. So tell me how that is going. It's been going on now for going on a year, I believe. Tell me where you are and what it looks like right now.
Well, first of all, compliments to Mayor Turner for helping to put together and putting together a wonderful task force, 35 Houstonians from every walk of life, every profession, every corner of the city. And they were all very strong leaders, very opinionated, very factual, data-driven human beings. And then we put together a great staff of researchers, because it really is about the data. It is about the research. And we have best practices from all over the country. And we really worked hard on producing the quality product that the mayor asked us to do. And it really has been a wonderful process. I have to mention my chief of staff on that project, Brooke Schuler, who really was instrumental in putting together the research team and doing a lot of the work and editing of the project. We ended up with 104 recommendations covering every aspect of policing that you could imagine. And it really has become the most comprehensive, thorough police reform report in the country. We get calls from all over the country, from cities, from mayors and police chiefs, wanting a copy of our report, of our task force report, to really look at and emulate what the findings have shown, because it is so data-driven in research. So we have now implemented about 60% of the 104 recommendations. We did a big batch of 50 a while back, and now we've been working on the rest of them since then. And the mayor is committed very much to the implementation stage of this process. We have now hired a wonderful person in the form of Crystal Odefer, who is the Deputy Inspector General. We've created a new Office of Policing Reform and Accountability, which she directs. And it really will make a difference in having this office. The vision of this office is to really hold police officers accountable through effective, transparent, and independent oversight. And we will do this in many, many ways. And one of the main things I want to get across in the time we have this morning together is to inform the public of the police dashboards. We have 5 dashboards that cover every aspect of community policing in this city. The idea of the task force, remember, was rooted in 4 principles: commitment, accountability, transparency, and trust. And it really is important to understand that that is the backbone of the implementation process. The oversight that is important is so clear here. So we now have 5 dashboards. The one that will probably pique the citizens' interest in the beginning is we have one where you can file a complaint. You can file a complaint against an officer. Let me also say you can also compliment and thank an officer at the same time. It is set up for complaints, but also we have some citizens now who are using it to make sure that officers who've gone out of their way to be helpful are also recognized. So the Office of Complaints can be, you can download photos, videos. You can talk about how you would like to have the complaint handled. You can file it anonymously. You can file it in English, Chinese, Vietnamese, Spanish, French, and Arabic. It is constantly looked at. You can also file a complaint through your local NAACP, LULAC, ADL, and Islamic community and other organizations around the city. And the complaint process and the ability to do that has really made a difference. The 5 dashboards, which you can go on to and check out, covers every aspect of policing. It has data, policing policies, cite and release program, the use of force, traffic stops, disciplinary action, employee diversity. It covers every aspect of what citizens want to know about their police department, all right there for you. It is updated monthly, so the statistics and data are always current. And is a great tool and resource to have, which gives true transparency to the work of your Houston Police Department. You can also know that the body camera issue, the police body cam videos, we now have a policy that video footage will be released in 30 days or less. We've already done that in many cases in the last month or so. So it's a lot, Todd, but it's really there. It's all accessible to the public. We wanted it to be user-friendly. Which it is. And so it's a great tool and resource to be able to really understand all the aspects of policing in Houston, Texas, which is much more than anyone knows. I have to say that from chairing the task force and diving deeply into the issue and subject matter. Policing is a very multifaceted operation. And to learn and to respect all that goes on, all that is expected of our officers to do and perform, which many of the tasks and duties were never meant to be done by police under policing. Society's issues have now led that to us to pick up a lot of the social, economic, and mental health issues that people face every day is turned over now to the police.
Larry, I wanted to ask you a question. Does this task force simply cover the Houston Police Department? And if so, is there a possibility of expanding it within Harris County and surrounding counties to cover other police departments in the area as well?
Good question. Our task force was just Houston, City of Houston, HPD specific. Now that we've done the report and the report is out, a lot of the municipalities around us, particularly some of the smaller police departments, excuse me, are using it as their benchmark, as their guidebook, and has really adopted some of the practices we talked about. It is really meant to be used by anyone who wants to avail themselves of it, again, because it is so thorough. It is really a document that has about everything you need to know and want to know about policing in it.
Where can people go to view this task force, your dashboard, and this information? Is there one simple web address, or is it a long address that we'll need to place in the social media post?
You can place in the social media post as the City of Houston Policing Reform at HoustonTex.gov.
Okay.
City of Houston Policing Reform at HoustonTex.gov.
And we will put that link in the social media post. You mentioned four things: commitment, transparency, accountability, and trust. It seems to one that all four of those things go together, and you can't have one without the others. Is that something you would think as well?
And the cornerstone, yes, and the cornerstone of that is what? Relationships. It all hinges on the development, nurturing, and maintaining of relationships built on mutual trust and respect, because nothing happens without trust. And to build that trust and to have that trust, it really behooves the police officers in the communities and neighborhoods to begin to know their community and neighborhoods again, and for the citizens to know the police officers on their beat. And so it is really back to the old-fashioned idea of the one-on-one kind of interaction with the police officer and the citizen, and understanding that it's a team. That is, police can't do it alone. Citizens can't do it. They have to work as a team. And it really is that old thing about see something, say something, do something. We need all the eyes and ears in this community to help the Houston Police Department do their job. And we're all in this together. If we're worried about crime, if we're worried about violence, if we're worried about anything in our neighborhood and community, then you have to help report it. You have to be the one to help the police understand what's going on in your neighborhood and your community.
Larry Payne, you're doing some incredible work. We appreciate everything you do, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Congratulations on your award. God bless you, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Todd, and to our HCCTV family. Always great to be with you.
Thank you, Larry. All right, it is Film Friday, as we mentioned. Oh, and by the way, we're going to put a link in our social media post of the show to take a look at the policing reform website and all the information Larry was talking about. We'll have that in the social media post. We're moving on to Carrie Darling. He's the art editor and film critic for the Houston Chronicle. He's our Film Friday guest. Good to see you again, Carrie. Big weekend at the box office. I know we got more. It seems like this has been the summer of superheroes. We've got yet another superhero movie that's about to open up.
You talk about this weekend, or
or coming up, I guess I should say, in the next couple of weeks with Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings.
Right, that opens, I believe, September 3rd. Yeah, that's the new Marvel movie, and the first one with an Asian American as the hero.
That looks like a pretty good movie. Have you had a chance to see an advanced screening?
Not yet. In fact, there's a screening actually later today. So no, I haven't seen it yet.
That one looks like an interesting one. You know, it seemed like I went to the theaters this past weekend, and the movie theater wasn't that full. I went to see Suicide Squad, so it was the second week that it was open. But it seems like more people are getting back in the theaters. COVID spiking again. Where do you think the theaters are right now? Are they kind of just sitting back saying, hey, this streaming thing isn't going away yet?
Right. I think they're all, I think they thought I think everyone thought they'd be in a much better place by this point. If you asked them last year, I'm sure they thought this summer was going to be, make up for all the money they lost last year. But now with the Delta variant in some cities like New Orleans, San Francisco, and New York City are implementing, demanding that people have a proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test before going to any entertainment venues, including movie theaters. I think now everything's so much more up in the air than it was just a few weeks ago.
It's troubling, and what's even more troubling when I look at movies like Fall Guy, that was the box office winner, making like 26 million. That's not sustainable to these big tentpole movies where they win a weekend with $26 million. I mean, we're talking 2 years ago, these movies were hoping to make $80 to $100 million in the opening weekend.
Right. And then you have Suicide Squad. You said the theater wasn't at full. I think it dropped 71% from first weekend to second weekend. So that's not sustainable.
I saw the Suicide Squad. I saw the first one. I thought the first one phenomenal. The second one, I think they could have ended the movie before it got ridiculous. What was your take on it?
I actually wasn't a big fan of the first one, so I thought it was much better than the first one. But that's kind of a low bar. I enjoyed it for what it was. I enjoyed it, but you're right, it probably was a bit too long, but I enjoyed it.
Fall and winter, I did see some previews for Dune. It looks like that eventually is going to make it out in theaters, hopefully. Any big ones besides Dune that you want to mention?
Oh, well, there's so many coming up just because, a lot of things got pushed from last year to this year. So we've got, West Side Story, Many Saints of Newark, the Sopranos prequel. We've got Eternals, another, big superhero movies. There's Top Gun Maverick finally coming out, and the James Bond, No Time to Die. So there's a lot of big stuff that's supposed to come out this fall, but we'll see if it actually happens.
You mentioned James Bond, which has been, I think, delayed 3 times now. That'll finally make it out. And another one that's piqued my interest because they keep alluding to the original characters returning, Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Right.
Bizarre, totally different storyline, but from what you're hearing, we're going to see some of the original characters in the movie. Maybe, I guess, just probably making a cameo.
Yeah, I would imagine. And this is supposed to be very different from the other Ghostbusters. It's Jason Reitman directing, but Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson and Sigourney Weaver are all listed as coming back. So we'll see how that actually turns out. It's supposed to be a much more sort of a touching, less sort of outwardly sort of comedic sort of movie. So we'll see how it works.
Well, once again, they don't have to set the bar that high because I guess the last Ghostbusters movie was a total bust. When we tried to reboot it with a whole new cast of females, that just didn't work for the general public. And that was pre-COVID, so they had a chance to really make a hit out of it.
Right. Yeah, that wasn't. I didn't dislike it as much as some other people, but it certainly didn't sort of build on the brand from the first one.
For people who are thinking, with this new variant of COVID and really a couple of variants coming out, I'm not going to be going to theaters anytime soon. There are some streaming ones that are out. Anything that you're recommending that really you should be checking out on streaming if you haven't yet?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. One is it came out in theaters, but it's on Hulu now, Summer of Soul. It's a concert movie from a concert in 1969. Q-Tip, the guy from The Roots, sort of put together the footage. Has been sort of hidden for like 40 years. It's Stevie Wonder, it's Gladys Knight. It's a great performance. It's a really, 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 really good concert film. So definitely check that out on Hulu. Not a movie, but a TV series is Reservation Dogs, co-produced by Taika Waititi, who did Jojo Rabbit. It's about 4 Native American kids growing up in the middle of Oklahoma. It's quite good. It's sort of like Atlanta, but with Native American kids.
That actually piqued my interest because I did see the previews for that. These streaming services are coming out right and left. Everybody's saying 10, 12, $12 a month, $25 a month. They're going to have to figure it out because, you wind up getting 3 or 4 streaming services. Then you have your cable bill. Next thing you're talking $200, $250 a month you're spending on TV and streaming bills. Do you see any changes forthcoming in the streaming industry? Because it seems like they're all piecemeal, take what you want and just pay the extras. Right.
Well, I think you're going to see a lot more people not, having cable and just signing up for streaming services. If there's something they want to see, like they want to see Reservation Dogs, just signing up for the 6 weeks or 8 weeks, whatever the run is, and seeing that, and then, canceling the service. I think you're going to see a lot more people doing things like that.
I wanted to get your opinion on one film that I've been seeing previews for, just to prove that Nicolas Cage will make any movie available. A new one called Pig. Have you heard anything on that?
It's supposed to be, I haven't seen it, but it's supposed to be fantastic. It's like at 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody I know who's seen it has raved about it, saying that Nicolas Cage is back. I know it's sort of opened in, a couple of theaters, none of them sort of centrally located in Houston, I don't think. So they kind of just threw it out there as like any other Nick Cage movie, but I think it's actually probably worth finding and going out and seeing.
Have you heard any, with the COVID spikes, have you heard any rumors of certain movie chains or theaters in certain cities that may be thinking of calling it quits for a month or two? Have you heard anything along those lines?
I haven't. I think they're trying to hold on as best they can after last year, staying open, with as long as they can until the state or some health officials say they have to close. I think they're going to try to tough it out.
The hardest thing, it seems, for them, not only getting the people in there, but getting the employees to come in and work. That seems to be a tough road as well for them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, getting consumers in and getting employees to come in if they feel their health is in danger, that could be a problem.
Carrie Darling, it seemed like when we started talking about things when the summer started that things were getting better. They have in some ways, but here we are again, looking at uncharted territories that we're going into.
Yeah, I know. Like I said before, I think Hollywood thought this was over. They thought with the spring and the summer and the vaccines that it would be 2019 all over again. And surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Carrie, thanks for being here this morning on this Friday. Have a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Okay, thank you.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye.
All right, we are going to move on to Carolina Linares, who is our co-host this morning with some HCC news and announcements. So Carolina, we got a few things going on. First up, HCC Central has an event happening.
Yes, HCC Central wants to remind you about its World Regional Geography classes available this fall. And this core curriculum course is in person from 7 to 8:30 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And you can register at hccs.edu/now.
Okay, check this out. Intel has partnered with HCC for an AI degree program. HCC is announcing a partnership with Intel, expanding our college's artificial intelligence, better known as AI, course curriculum to help students gain the job skills needed to enter the ever-changing workforce. This is a high-demand skill, folks. Intel became the latest industry leader to collaborate with HCC following partnerships with Microsoft and Amazon last year, Apple a couple of years ago. Yeah, we're partners with them. And it's in support of the AI program. In fall 2020, HCC became the first community college in Texas and the second in the United States to launch the associate degree AI program, which in part incorporates machine learning curricula from, get this, Microsoft and Amazon. You want to talk getting a job right away? Go through this program. We even get funding to help you go through it. So keep that in mind. You can check this out. We'll have information in the social media post for the show. Got a passion for the arts? HCC's got a program for you, Carolina.
Yeah, HCC's Media, Performing, and Visual Arts Center of Excellence has what you need this fall. So register now for any of the following programs: dance, filmmaking, audio recording, music, drama. And for most of this, you can email the chair, Susan Hines, or Michael Kahn for filmmaking. But we will have the various links in our post after the show.
Okay, students, keep in mind the catalog and handbook is here for you, and they're online. The online 2021-2022 HCC catalog and student handbooks now available using a web-based format that's more searchable and interactive. Students will also be able to access a degree planner to track their educational path and create your own My HCC accounts for easy reference. We'll have a link to the catalog in the social media post for the show. And if you're thinking of going to HCC in the fall, Carolina, now's the time to enroll because we got funding to help you.
Absolutely. So more free money with HERF. HCC is receiving $59 million for our students thanks to the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund program, which is rolling out its third round of funding to respond to the COVID pandemic. And fall enrolled students can get help with the cost of tuition fees, books, supplies, housing, food, transportation, childcare, and healthcare. And the request form is on My Eagle Online, so go check it out.
That's right. Okay, if you're going to classes in the fall, keep in mind there are some changes. First off, fall classes, yes, they're happening. You can register online now at hccs.edu/now. If you need assistance with registering, we have an online virtual lobby, a virtual student lobby. There are very limited student services available on campuses. We want to keep everyone safe because of the new Delta variant, and we want to make sure that you still get the service you need. So all of the HCC student support services are available online for you. Go to the webpage, click on the green box, and that'll take you to get you where you want. Register for the fall. When things get better, we will have in-person classes. But right now, it's too sketchy out there. So our classes for the first 4 weeks are online. Keep that in mind. So register today, though. As Carolina just mentioned, we got lots of money to help you pay for college in the fall. Register today at hccs.edu/now. Okay, Carolina, next week on the show, we got some special guests.
Yes, Teddy Tovar of HCC's Coleman College for Health Sciences will be here, and he will tell us about what is going on with the respiratory therapy program over here, and it will be Music Monday. So boy, do we have a treat in store. Houston-born mariachi singer Virginia Style will be here to tell us about her recording career, and if we're lucky, to perform to us.
That should be cool. So that's happening on Monday. Big weekend ahead. Try to get out, enjoy it some. Be safe while you're out there. And we'll be back live Monday morning, 10 a.m. right here for Up to the Minute.
How prepared is your family if disaster shows up at your doorstep? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan before they show up. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes!
Make a plan today.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Talk to your doctor about creating a plan that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
Kids will be kids, which just goes to say kids will be curious. They get into everything. If there's a loaded firearm in the house, they could get their hands on that too. Keeping firearms locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition in a place inaccessible to kids can help keep your loved ones safe from family fire. Safe gun storage saves lives.
If you love them enough to do this, surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.